Welcome back to West Texas View.
This is our last segment in a series of programs with Dr. Bobby Jain, and he's been giving us kind of a broad spectrum of information these last 3 Sundays because we've been answering your questions, and we certainly want you to continue asking any questions as we have not only Dr. Jain but some of the other doctors from around the Permian Basin area as guests on our program. But in this last segment, I told him that there were only 2 more questions that we hadn't answered, and one of them was about his own routine for physical and mental well-being that he practiced himself. And that, by the way, came from a man. And also, what do you do to monitor your own health?
That's a very important question. Let me put it this way. Physicians are human beings. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. We do experience bad days. We do suffer from depression. We do suffer from anxiety. We do suffer from frustration. We do get overwhelmed. But part of the good training we get is to understand limitations. Things we can do, things we cannot do, and understanding the difference between the two. That's kind of part of the serenity prayer that we are required to follow through it. So I can give you something from my personal experience how I deal with it. Not that I have the most effective or I'm the most stable, emotionally stable, or I'm the maverick or something like that. No, I had, to be honestly speaking, I had episodes of my life where I had struggled with depression myself. Fortunately, going into this field was one of the reasons for that reason.
And you have a brother who's
I have a brother who has a psychiatrist also, and there's a significant history of mental illness in my own family. So I've seen mental illness both professionally and personally both. What I've found to be consistently helpful is the fact that one thing is certain: you cannot take mental health for granted. If you're feeling well, that does not mean that you can let your guards down, because the next day, the next moment, it can bring something very different for you. Stresses in life come left and right. If you're not emotionally prepared for that, if you're not emotionally healthy for that, if you're not good to yourself, number one, how you can be, particularly physicians, can be good to your patients. If I'm not emotionally apt, I have nothing to offer to my patients. So it's extremely important that I know my limitations in terms of how much stress I can take, how much work I can do, how much services I can provide, teaching wise or otherwise. So that's knowing my limitation. Everybody has got their own limitations, and that's probably the first thing you can do. You cannot and you do not want to overflow your plate. You think you're doing a service for the people, but in the long run you are not. That's the one thing. That's the principle.
Because that's what we tell parents. You can't be your best self as a parent until you're your best self.
Exactly. And that is not being selfish, it's just being realistic, in my opinion. That you cannot, a drowning man cannot save another drowning person. You have to be a good swimmer and be afloat and be in full energy to swim before you can save another drowning person. So, if you're sinking yourself, if you're barely able to be afloat,
you can't even save yourself.
You cannot even save yourself, let alone anybody. So that's the biggest principle. And other things that are known to be helpful in terms of things. Recognize things that stress you out. And everybody has got different stressor. Some people have driving as a stressor, like driving long distance being a stressor. Some people may be having stressor interacting with certain people, certain chores, and unconventional things.
But also it seems like that the opposite of that would be true too. Finding out what is calming to you.
Right, exactly.
What is good meditation for you.
Right, so yeah, exactly. That's what my third point was, to know things that rejuvenate you. I have found from my personal experience and also from a number of research is to doing physical exercise. Very, very important. Having good interpersonal reaction or interaction with your colleagues, be at work or be it or otherwise. Having good supportive people around you, not yes men or yes, just who agrees with you all the time. but also having good supportive people who are supportive in terms of what you want to do, but also who are not shy in saying that, hey, you're not doing good, you need to change up. So finding good friends, real good friends, is extremely important. Having a very good social structure is extremely important. And giving time to do something good in life. Everybody, no matter what kind of job, and having a purpose in life. Everything, no matter how much you make money, how much you are successful, how much authority you have, you need to have a certain form of gratification that makes you feel good inside. It may be giving some money out or doing physical work for somebody. That's some form of positive reinforcement.
But you cannot give out until you're strong yourself.
Strong yourself, exactly. Being strong yourself is very important.
I think I remember this, and I may be incorrect, so correct me if I tell it wrong. But you said one time that you noticed that you were beginning to gain some weight, and you wanted to, and you started a really strict workout regimen. Am I correct in that?
Yes, I mean, I'm in early 40s now. I'm still young, am I? Well, I like to think that way.
To me, you're very young.
Oh, you're 25.
Yeah. Right.
So, but I'm coming to the point of age where dietary modifications is very important. Physical exercise is very important. Weight is a reflection of more prosperity and less expenditure. So gaining more. So in our lifestyle, where in our culture where food is abundant, food is nothing. Weight is a sign of something is wrong.
Is a symptom of what's wrong.
It's a symptom wrong. It's not something like third world country or some other countries where being healthy and plump is a sign of prosperity. No, in the United States, it's a sign of weakness and sign of that. I'm not saying that everybody who is overweight is weak or something like that. I'm saying that being physically fit, and new literature has suggested that being overweight is not a major concern as long as you're cardiovascularly healthy. If you're healthy, you're physically active, doesn't matter how much you weigh or how much you not weigh, it does not matter. But you should not be, in terms of what your lifestyle is, if my lifestyle requires climbing 2 flights of stairs every day, you should be able to do that without getting out of air. So weight is not that much important. Being how physically fit is very important for your emotional health.
So the bottom line is that you, as a doctor of psychiatry, a mental health expert, still feels very strongly that you've got to monitor yourself
absolutely
every day,
and
just like.
And I'm probably more vulnerable than anybody else.
This has been so much fun to have Dr. Jain back with us. We'll see you next Sunday with another program, and we'll invite him to come back anytime he can. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.